Hi, I'm Dr. Natasha Wilks from High Performance Vets. In today's video, I want to talk to you about connection. What got me thinking about this was on Monday, it was the 10th anniversary of a very dear friend and colleague's passing. And it made me think about friendships and how often we actually connect or get in touch with our friends and how often we catch up with our friends. Now, I know for a lot of people, when you're in practice and when you're busy, you're working all the time. I know what it's like now that I've got children. There's something going on in the morning, there's something usually going on the afternoon, and especially weekends. Now we've got a lot of weekend sport. And I find that the people we normally spend time with are people from school, because we seem to see each other at pick up and drop off and sport and everything like that. So what are you doing to connect with your friends? I know for a lot of us, and for me especially, a lot of my deep friendships are with work colleagues because we spend a lot of time together. And it's actually quite funny because next week I'm making time. I've recognised that I've been so busy, and I was so busy before we went away to Cape York for months and months that I actually wasn't catching up with many people at all. And for me, it's really important to get out of the house, because otherwise there's a lot of washing and cleaning that needs to be done, and we all need to avoid that to a point. So next week I'm catching up with Fiona, who I used to work with a few years ago, and Annette, who I worked with like 10 years ago, and my friend Deb, who lives down the road, who looked after Bailey while we're away. So I've actually got 3 coffees planned next week. And it'll be great just to connect with them, to see what they're up to, what they're doing. And I find for me, we all know I love chatting. I mean, that's a bit of an obvious one, isn't it? But it's just good to check in. Annette and Fiona are both vets. What are they doing? Fiona just passed her memberships in dentistry. Yay, congratulations. And, Annette's running a practice. So it's just always good to check in. How are they going? What are they doing? What are they doing outside of practice? And I just love hearing about everybody's successes. But for you, what are you doing in practice? Who are you connecting with outside of practice? Because what can happen is we can get so busy all day, every day. And like I said, you're exhausted at the end of the day, but you can be so busy, yet so lonely. So when are you making time to connect with your friends? And look, it doesn't have to be coffee. I'm just lucky that I work part-time and then I do a lot of my work from home. And I've got most of my coaching clients later in the day next week. But if you're working full-time, what can you do? The other day, I actually gave a friend who I worked with a call on the way home on a Friday. It was quite late. And we never seemed to catch each other. And I'm like, I know she'll be home now. And we had a bit of a quick chat. And it was just good to catch up with her and hear how she's going. So a good predictor of mental health is strong personal relationships. So who are you connecting with? What are you doing to catch up with your friends? If you're starting out and you're a new or recent grad, it's really important to catch up with your friends because there can be a lot that you go through in those first few years of practice. You're learning, you've got a lot of new cases, it can be quite overwhelming. So it's so nice to have friends to chat to find out, what are you doing? How did you go? How did you go with this? And there's been times I've been driving home, especially when I was locuming years ago, that I'd ring a friend and go, I had this case in, this is how I dealt with it. What do you think? What do you recommend? It was just good to touch base because I knew as soon as I got home, it'd be, it's a normal nightly chaos. It's dinner, it's bedtime, and then you're exhausted and it's late, and you really can't be ringing friends late because they're the same. They've got to get up early and get ready for work the next day. So I want you to think about how you're connecting with your friends. It doesn't have to be coffee. It can be a quick chat or going out to a movie, catching up for a drink. It can be seeing each other at a conference. And that's why I love conferences. I have so much fun at conferences because I catch up with everybody who I haven't seen since a year before. And you know what? A lot of these conferences, I didn't actually know these people. I just knew them from social media. So there's people that I met from Facebook or from Twitter. This was before I was into Instagram, and I'm still learning Instagram. But there were so many people that I met that I was familiar with. I didn't personally know them, but I just knew them through social media. And it's the same people I run into every year, and I love it because it's just great to catch up with them, how they're going, what they've been up to. So that's why catching up at conferences is so important, because for one, it's great networking, but it's another way to chat to people who are in a similar field to you. And look, who else can you call and show your disgusting surgery photos to? You know, everybody else thinks they're absolutely disgusting, whereas we're like, wow, look at this cool surgery I did, or this medicine case. Or who else can you moan to about anal glands, who will understand it and not be totally grossed out? You know, I've been at dinner and made the fatal mistake of discussing some cool stuff that I did that everybody thought was very, very gross. So I've learnt to certainly be mindful of my company when I'm discussing or showing photos of what I do. But really, this is about connection. This video is about connection. So who are you connecting with? For some people, you might have lots of friends. For other people, you might have those one or two good friends. And that's okay. It's what it is for you. So reach out to them. It might be a text, but you know, nothing replaces seeing somebody in person. And if you don't have time, call them. It's nice to just to chat to somebody. So after you finish watching this, text, call, email, invite, and catch up with your friends. It'll make you feel much better. I'm Natasha Wilks. It's lovely chatting to you today.